Hello, viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching. Hello, viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliu Sise, and this is your weekly State of Affairs program. Well, we apologize for the late start of the program. Well, tonight in the program, we will be examining accountability, power, and of course, the road to 2026 election. From anti-corruption, activism. We know Mariang has just won an award in Qatar. We'll also discuss the arrest of Sana Manjang, what it means for, justice, the ECOWAS intervention on Jammeh's recent audio, and of course, the 2026 budget. Joining me on the program, like I said, is Seth Matijau in the studio here, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Research and Policy Development. Seth, good to have you on the program.
Thank you, Aliu.
And also joining us live from Doha in Qatar is Mar Nyang, who is the Executive Director of Gambia Participates. I will start with Mar. Mar, if you can hear me, like I said, you've just received the 9th Sector bin Hamad Al-Thani International Anti-Corruption Excellence Award. Congratulations, from me and the entire team here. To start with, share with us, what does this recognition mean for you as an activist?
I think it is a refueling station for me. Like I said, we don't actually do this work to expect recognition. It is where you want to do what is right, that which is not good. So if you have rulers like Sheikh Amim, previously the U.S. government, the CEO of FN recognize it. I think that is a motivation, a refueling station, like I put it. It's a refueling station because the work that we do is a very challenging work. It comes with a lot of challenges. Sometimes you get frustrated, you want to give up, but these and many other factors are what force you to actually continue the work that you do. But the biggest refueling station is experience of the people you work for, right? That is the biggest refueling gas station, if I can put it that way. So I feel privileged. I feel the Amir Kulab actually just bring his minister and then over the awards, him sharing his words of motivation. And for me, I think that is priceless.
Interesting. Seth, you're also in the same civil society, field with Mar. How important do you think this award is, in terms of, mobilizing young people and, of course, women in advocating for good governance and accountability?
Thank you, Aliu. I want to also join you and also my colleagues within the civil society to congratulate Mar, but also to congratulate the entire civil society, but the wider Gambian population. I think this is a national award. Is an award that should be recognized at that national level, given its significance. It also shows, to a large extent, that there are efforts that have been done in Gambia to fight against corruption, to promote accountability, and so for me, I think this is a very significant. But like Mar said, sometimes you're in this work is because of personal conviction, a conviction that you want to contribute to the development of your society, but not necessarily that you want to expect an award. And so when the award comes, it's just an accolade. It comes with it. It's just a tap on the back that you're doing good job. And so what this is saying for me is that you can be acting in a very small country like the Gambia with very small population, but then you are recognized. Your efforts, no matter how little, how frustrated you are, no matter how difficult the situation. There are people that are watching, that are learning, and so that is the message. That's why we need to continue to do what we have to do.
And Mar, for you, take us through the process. How were you identified for the award?
Well, that's a so I was contacted about this award and encouraged to get nominated for it, and the World Center for Rights and Justice nominated me for this when commu- community actually received. And so when it was received, they sent it directly with the organizers. It's a very competitive process, selection committee that all of the nominees, I think they received tons and dozens of, if, I mean, thousands of applications. And then the highest will review the process, review the applicants actually, do the nomination, and then you have like the board of advisors of the committee that will look at it candidates, and they either accept or reject. So finally, 9 applicants in different categories. Each category there are 2 recipients. So I am into the youth creativity and innovation category. Youth creativity and engagement.
And said for you, I mean, how important is credibility in this whole work that you do as civil society?
I mean, it's the foundation. I mean, it's the foundation of what we do. It's the reason why people recognize us, but it's also is the basis in which you are supposed to do your work. Your work is supposed to be a platform, basically, to connect demand side actors and supply side actors. Those are government with citizens. So you have to be trusted by both sides to be able to deliver that what you do. But credibility means like what we say in Wolof, naka na loho feka se loho borom or something like that. My Wolof is terrible.
I know maybe Mar is better than you.
Yeah, of course, of course. But just the idea is like you have to be that. You have to be that. But credibility is also inward. It has to be about your own personal integrity that you have to look forward. Because of course, the kind of work that we do, sometimes you receive donations, you receive funds from donors, so you're expected to deliver it in the best interest of the people that you're raising those funds for.
And like I said, I mean, looking back, I mean, in the past few months, we'll not get into politics actually. I mean, what will you look at and say, okay, these have been the key events that actually shaping our current political scene?
Well, of course, I think in the beginning you mentioned, of course, the first one that comes to mind is the Jammeh's famous audios that are coming up. Of course, it's more of like creating rupture in terms of an ongoing process or democratizing society. So I think more recently he has been very very visible, and that kind of created a lot of interest and a lot of discussions. Of course, the issues around accountability also came up dominate, especially now with the arrest of Sana Manjang. I think there's also, almost most of these things are happening at the tail end of the year. But of course, within the whole year also, we've seen issues around police-civilians relationship also in terms of incidents that have happened. And these are all issues that are speaking to the wider conversation around the state of the nation and where we're heading to as a country. So there are quite a lot of things that one can point to. Yeah.
So, Mar, for you, I mean, politics at the moment feels more tense and polarized. I mean, is this polarization organic or deliberately just, I mean, engineered by the upcoming 2026 election?
I feel a lot of interest from different individuals that want to shape the of this country, and as a result, you see a lot of people coming into the political space, especially for the presidential election. There's a huge challenge when it comes to as well the political parties organizing themselves. Uh, we've been seeing a lot more political parties been registered. Um, some obviously justify why they are registered, but others, it's not something that the citizens uh, really they're not getting that justification, because are they into politics to really run for presidential election, or are they going into politics to form a coalition in order to expect recompense, to expect compensation for joining the ruling party in order to minister position, ambassador position, or what have you. So I think those are some of the issues that we really have to look into. Just on going down to the level, I think it is the primary factor that orchestrated this position in our societies, because of nuances and also political rhetorics and messages that is emanating from political leaders. It is some of them are really divided, and then we will come across uh, uh, divisive uh, rhetorics coming divided. I think those are really very dangerous, and I think I see really for this, and then also the civil society organizations, some condemning. There has to be ability, right? Um, we cannot underestimate this small is or this is perceived to be very small. They could actually ignite something unthinkable, something dangerous.
And as said for you, I mean, who actually benefits from this polarization and the tension and all that? Is it, I mean, the government, the opposition, or maybe neither?
I mean, one can argue that democracy itself is polarizing. It means like people will have different options. But what is this polarization that we're talking about in the in reality? People supporting different candidates, believing in different ideas, belonging to different groups. I mean, if you ask me, a democracy that is supposed to be a normal democratic setup, you know, where you have multi-party politics and all those things. You see that plural aspect of society coming out. But of course, for me, the issue is not to blame anybody. It's like to understand our trajectory and where we're coming from. We're coming from a society where 2 decades people were not talking, people were not expressing themselves. And now they have an opportunity to do that. So you quite see a lot of people will start expressing themselves and trying to, you know, be part of a process. And that's what we are seeing as well. At some point, for me, I always believe that at some point people will get tired of the talking and all that. But at some point also, it means what kind of conversation are we having? That is, for me, I see it like you're talking about the negative side, where we have to get issues around hate speech, where things that used to unite us as Gambian now today divide us. So those are issues that are concerning, and so mostly when it comes to this issue, we find it in the politics, in the politics, because in the politics that's where they try to elbow each other out to see who's going to be there, and that's why sometimes
comments actually come from party leaders themselves.
Yeah, party leaders, you know, all of them and their supporters, because at the end of the day, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to mobilize through that purpose. But for me, I also feel as a society today we are more sensitive than we used to be, because things are also changing. But for me, eventually, I mean, these are things that we need to learn, but talking and discussing has to be part of the democratic process, and we have to learn the good way and not say that it is negative and then we push it aside. For me, to a certain extent, polarization is good.
And for you, Mark, do you agree with that?
Well, yes, I agree with said, but to a father, I think to be responsible in the way people address or political discourse. It is highly risky to get into a conversation where you attack a religion, or you make mockery of a religion, or attack someone else's identity, or try to belittle their tribe. These are very sensitive social issues, not be underestimated, because we have seen the consequences of this type of discourse in countries. You know, in the 90s, there were not social media radio stations. They use those platforms to, you know, increase and also polarization to an extent. that people lost their lives, and in many other countries, right? Um, we've seen, I mean, the xenophobia in South Africa. It was through this type of petty issues that people underestimated and extent it cost people's lives. So I think there has to be responsibilities. Polarization and democratic pluralization are totally different. We accept that, right? It is a democratic society. We need different multi-party, or should I say, different political parties. It's a multi-democracy, but it has to be exercised within the confines of the law, right? Criminal laws that prohibit that are coming from citizens, they are punishable, right? It has to be done in order to make sure that you speak with responsibility. It is
So, yes, as said for you, in terms of the election, what do you think voters should really look out for beyond just the personality and all that?
I mean, I think voting is a personal choice. People look for different things, different reasons why they vote. So it's a choice. And for me, usually choice is the most difficult aspect that one must look at. But for me, if you ask me what I look for in a candidate, I will want to look for a candidate that kind of connects to what I believe in, a stable Gambia, a prosperous Gambia, people that want to believe in those kind of ideas, but that also want to deliver services. And how are they going to deliver services? Is this realistic, and can I contribute to that process? Those are all issues that I kind of consider. But for every individual, it depends. And I think that for me, as a student of politics, these are the issues or questions that make it interesting for me to study. But if we're talking about our state also, I mean, we need someone that really loves this country and knows how to make things move.
And Mar, for you, I mean, we often hear that, I mean, the credibility of any election is not only determined on the day of the voting. I mean, events leading to the actual voting matters a lot. In your case, what do you think, I mean, we should fix now and not just wait until 6 months of the election in terms of the credibility of the next election?
the voter roll has to be cleaned up. The credibility of the election depends mainly on the voter roll. The voter roll is what determines who is going to vote and who is not going to vote. So if that is not cleaned up, then you might not have an election that is credible. And I say this because of we are heading towards the supplementary voter registration. Uh, 162,157 registered voters. Out of those 2,157 registered voters, there are many that have passed away. There are those that have left the country. There are those that are now eligible to vote, which is obviously going to be those that will be registering in the supplementary voter registration. So at the end of the day, what has to be done is the amount of voters or new voters that we have registered in this voters and total it with the 960,157, it is going to give a total perhaps in 1.1 million or 1.2 million, not going to be the actual voter roll because deletions that are required to be done, and that deletion systematically. How many registered voters since June 2020 passed away? How many voters since June have left the country? We don't have that data, and our database are not synced, right? Are people reporting their deaf family members? Or our immigration database, are they able to document how many are registered and left the country? So important, and I think this has to be systematically approached. It has to be something that has to be fixed. That's one thing. There are several other issues. The other thing is also campaign finance. We've already seen the final activity by state, or should I say taxpayers' money outside political, which is obviously the reason why you see people talking about the Meet the People store. The objective of Section 222, Subsection 15 of the Constitution is very clear. So we've seen that particularly used. So your campaign has already, without it declared a campaigning period by the IEC. So that is also another thing that the election, because what it does is creates an unfair and unlevel playing field for other political actors, because others need to get permit in order for them to do their political campaign. But if the Meet the People store is being used to do political campaign funded by the citizens, then that also questions the fairness. So they have credibility, and that's why we call it free and fair election. So that is one of the things that comes of election.
Mar, said, do you have anything to add on to what you've
I
just
mean,
said?
I
Or you
think
have a different view
no, no.
from?
I mean, I think Mar has raised critical issues, especially on the voter list. But I think the point that he raised, which is very critical, is currently our structural problems in the fact that our electoral register is not linked to the debt and other certificates that are available within the country. So it will be very difficult for anyone to, because yes, people usually talk about a clean voter list, which is very critical, which is important. But for me, the voter list is also about how do we get people in the voter list. And I think, like he talked about, supplementary registration is coming up. I mean, we are likely or might see underage voters. It's part of the national conversation. How do we prevent young underage people from voting, or people that are not supposed to be on the list? For me, that's the best way to address the issue, and therefore there's the need for whole consultation. I mean sensitization, but particularly for me, I'm interested in what efforts or what kind of training or capacity building are we giving to traditional authorities who are also going to be given attestation and all those things, so that they can understand their role within the whole context of the electoral process. I think when all these things are taken together, I mean, it can contribute immensely to the process.
And Mar, I mean, we all agree that, I mean, elections is about trust. I mean, from your perspective as a civil society player, I mean, do you think the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission, has done enough so far to earn that public confidence?
I think they have, although they have their own internal, but I think there is public trust on the IEC. With some, especially this past electoral cycle, we have not seen foul play where an officer intervenes in altering the results. We do our own PBT, collect our own data, and we were able to detect if they're able to do so. The results that they actually announce reflects the will and aspirations of voters. However, this doesn't goes to say that there are certain gray areas which IEC need to actually. And I believe one of the big challenge which they were able to actually overcome in 2021 was the reporting of different inconsistent election results. Right, that what actually catapulted the political impasse in 2016. In the local government election or parliamentary election, there was also an error, 2017 2018 around that end, and they actually rectified it. But they avoided that in the 2021-2023 electoral cycle. So that is also one they have to address and make sure that the consistency continues from the past. Now, the other thing is when it comes to enforcing the election law, so many punishable or prohibited, or should I say, they prohibited activities during political campaign. Now, when it comes to the IEC taking accountability steps
Uh,
being
is
being taken. So this includes, right? We've seen vote buying across different politics, both the ruling party and the opposition engage in vote buying. We've also seen issues of hate speech, and so many other critical issues that have to be addressed. To just sum up, yes, there is public trust that they are capable and competent to run they're competent to run credible elections that reflect the wills of the people, but there are certain challenges that has to be addressed. If not, it will erode gradually.
let's now shift to, to the budget, the 2026 budget. I mean, said, I mean, you are someone who's been very much, I mean, interested in the budget anytime the minister led the budget in Parliament. I mean, when you looked at the 2026 budget, what would you look and said, this really worries me as far as accountability is concerned?
I mean, I think Mar is the budget expert. So for me, I only follow and listen to what Mar and all the budget civil society that follow the budget also say. But I think one issue that has been raised, openly and mostly by people is the issue of the debt service.
Exactly.
And
13 billion this year.
13
from
billion.
11 billion last year.
Yes. And sometimes I had this debate in my class. I said, is it about the number? Is it about the 13 billion that we should worry about? But what we use that 13 billion for? What are we paying with that 13 billion? Because for me today, like, yes, we build a OIC road, we are using it, but that's part of the 13 billion. Yeah. We are going to Faraba Banta, we are teaching there, we are right in the class, we are talking about debt, and that university is from that. I would have been worried if that money was used differently. So I also want to see, especially, I think Mar and others are more expert in that area, to see how they can also go beyond this 13 billion to start showing exactly how this 13 billion is being used. For me, I think that will bring up the debate, that will unpack the debate, and then we'll see that we're not just taking loan and then marrying wives and spending it anyhow, but we're investing it in what we're supposed to invest. But despite that, we need to also, I think what worries the people is about how do we have, the fact that we have to pay it, and generation have to pay that, and that is worrying for a lot of people, and I think even for government. That's why they're talking about now taking concessional loans and all those different issues.
And a percentage must be granted.
For that, yes. Yeah. But so for me, I mean, every country will need to take loan at some point. Even every individual, today you are broke, you take loan, but how do you spend it and where you invest it? And for me, that is what is what is necessary. Otherwise, today we will not have a campus like Faraba.
Definitely.
Because it's like a building that has been built.
Yeah. Mar, for you, when you look at it, at the 2026 budget, I mean, do you think it is economically sustainable? I mean, we have seen, I mean, yes, spending is going up. Yes, so also is, I mean, the debt servicing.
I don't know if I should give you a direct answer or a more longer answer.
Give me a direct answer, because we're running out of time. And we have other issues to discuss as well.
If you ask me whether it's economically sustainable, we have to look at different, right? Our expenditure is increasing. Yes, our revenue collection or revenue collection is also increasing. Now, when it comes to sustainability economically, look at the budget and its alignment to the National Development Plan, because that is supposed to be the country's blueprint. But I think the budget is heading towards the direction of, should I say, working towards achieving the ultimate goals of the National Development Plan. On the macroeconomic policy, I believe this will be Pillar 3 of the National Development Plan. The government, I believe, if I'm not quoting the wrong pillar, they intend to support, or should I say, create 150,000 jobs. You could remember not long ago, the vice president was asked by a parliamentarian, he could not give them a data on how many jobs the government is able to create so far in meeting that particular outcome or targeted result under the National Development Plan. Under the same National Development Plan, the government said they will be building affordable households within the urban Gambia. We have not seen one single household built by the budget of the Gambia, and I've not seen any allocation in the 2026 budget going towards building affordable households. Today, rent rates are skyrocketed, right? And this what informed the government's policy in building affordable households, especially for public officials, so that they were able to get a comfortable life, obviously, through those incentives, once those houses are built, and a decent living. And there's so many other things. There's one thing that I've seen among obviously other issues, but one main area that I've seen the National Development Plan being funded by um, the budget, which is the construction of roads, and it's evident that you see roads everywhere, and I think that is good. It helps the economy to grow, and this is something that we have been calling for. And then we've also seen the anti-corruption commission is also one of the things that they wanted to establish by 2027, and they also in the same they're in the right direction for that. Healthcare, it is a huge. I don't think the National Health Service Scheme is working very well. The insurance card that is being issued, I don't think private or other public hospitals seriously. So there are just so many challenges. Why I cannot give you a direct answer? But just to sum up, a country needs to have a clear direction. If I go to the US today, I know their direction is under the Trump administration. They're saying no to illegal aliens. They're saying no to unfair tariffs, even though other countries might see it unfair. But then the direction that they're taking. We in Senegal since 2024, we know the direction that they have taken, which is to make life affordable and as a result of that, within a year or two, they're able to bring down prices of essential products, right? And they are doing whatever they can to close the leakages of revenue leakages in the country. What is the direction of the Gambia? I cannot tell you what is our direction. Where are we heading? Right? Are we are we going right or are we going wrong? I cannot tell you because if you want to make life more affordable for Gambians, you need to come up with policies that support that, but not to come with policies that make life difficult for your own citizens and make life easier for businesses, like the cement policy that we have come across. And I'm glad that they have reciprocated that policy, which is good thing, because you need to learn through the effects of policies and then make swift decisions, and this has to be avoided. But aside that, right, what is the direction of the country? I don't have that answer, and I don't know where we're heading to. I guess maybe say the political expert can give us a clear explanation on that.
All right, thank you very much, Mar. I mean, Seth, let's now move on. I mean, let's look at the arrest of Sana Manjang, and of course, I mean, the Jame era justice. I mean, for many, the arrest kind of upon those, I mean, wounds from the Jame era. But in your own analysis, I mean, do you think this arrest in any way signal a real commitment to justice, or is it just selective prosecution, as many will put it? Because people are asking, there are other junglers who have been, here in the country and nothing happens to them.
I mean, for me, the question of this selective,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, yeah. I mean, everybody is. Yeah. You see, we said we have a process from 2016, and this was the transitional justice, and so you had people that came before the transition. And said, we want to come before the Gambians and then tell our side of the story. And then you have somebody that ran away and, hiding. And today he came back, got arrested from where he was hiding. And now people are comparing him to others and saying selective justice. I mean, I think sometimes for me, this is what I don't understand. Is it that we want justice, or we just want to be pinpointing at each other that, okay, why him, why not him? I don't think that will move this country forward. Yeah.
So if this is truly, like you said, impartial sort of, who should be the next?
I mean, the issue is not about impartiality. There's a process. There's a process the country is establishing. I've been part of this process. That's why I'm talking like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is the special accountability mechanism. There is the special prosecutor's office. But even before Sana Manjak, there were people that were tried in this country. We talk about Yankuba Toure, you talk about the NIA 9. Yeah. But outside Gambia, you talk about what? Usman Sonko, you talk about Michael Korea, and even in Germany. Yeah. So there have been things, you see, of course the crimes happen in this country. But the accountability issues will not be only Gambia that will be taking that responsibility. And they're talking about Sana. Sana, there was at one point, if you go back in March 2005, there was an arrest warrant for him. And those were things that were there. And of course, the level, the amount of crime that he was named and he got involved is quite a lot. And so those are issues that are, so it's not for me that people should not be looking at it that way. And so let's just wait for the processes to happen. Of course, nobody can tell anybody in this country to wait anymore because people have been waiting for, and so rightfully so. But the issue of justice is justice for all, and that should be the message. It doesn't matter whether this one get it today, the other one get it tomorrow. The purpose is that everybody must answer to their crimes, and that's what the population is calling for.
And Mar, for you, do you think, I mean, these prosecutions can help in healing the nation, or perhaps risks opening divisions among us?
To an extent, accountability has to take place for those that have, in the unfortunate activities, right? So they have to be held accountable to some degree.
Mar is kind of breaking there, but I mean, like I asked him, do you believe so? Does this kind of, I mean, heal the nation, or maybe open?
I mean, yeah. Like for if we've been tracking with Afrobarometer, we've been tracking the transitional justice for some time, and then every year people are demanding for prosecution of people that committed human rights violation. So sometimes we see 76%, 79% increase in almost all the time. So I don't see that dividing the population. I see that is delivering justice. Justice is a service, and prosecuting and ensuring that there is prosecution, that is delivering justice and delivering service. And for me, I think that would provide healing and closure for quite a lot of people.
Yeah, so Mar, yes, if you can hear me, I was just asking you, I mean, in terms of these prosecutions, do you think it's going to help in healing the nation, or just, reopen, I mean, division in the country?
I think it's going to help to heal the country. There are victims that have suffered in the hands of these perpetrators, and they have been longing for this day to come, in silence, in pain. Some of them actually they were not lucky to witness this justice. They pass away, both the victims and the indirect victims, the victim family members. So it is going to heal the country, that at least justice has been served. But like Sid said, there are 10 perpetrators, even though they might be at large or they are within the hands of the government. There are some legal instruments also that have to take swiftly be established to ensure that the Gambia will have the jurisdiction to prosecute those perpetrators. And this is something that is a conversation for another day. Those legal mechanisms, I know Council Salutal and others, and also obviously Minister of Justice have been working on this special prosecution mechanism and others. But I want to first commend the government of the Gambia for taking this, initiative in prosecuting these perpetrators, right? Especially those that are at large in other jurisdiction. For the victim side also, we must not lose sight of why they think this is selective, because they might not be seeing their perpetrators being apprehended and facing justice, right? And this also includes perhaps those that aided either corruption or human rights violation under the government of the APRC, and then being awarded instead of being held accountable. Being awarded in the sense they are either given position, or they are either pardoned, or they just, government sit as if nothing happened. So you also have to understand the feeling of the victims. And this is something that I believe should have been avoided. Those that have wronged this country or a debt to the country, they have not paid that debt to the country. They have not apologized to the country, and they are one of the most loudest people in this country. There has to be accountability, and I believe most of the victims, this is what's saddening them the most.
And said, I mean, you have heard the audio of former President Jammeh expressing his interest to return. He had planned to come back in November. November is up, maybe December or January next year. Do you think, I mean, as a former president, he should be allowed, to return back unconditionally?
I mean, like, he's a citizen, whether former president or not. If he wants to come to his country, he can come to his country. But what is unconditionally? He did not live he did not live here unconditionally. He lived here with conditions.
But there are people that he also denied, I mean, returning unconditionally.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yes,
and
but
those are also citizens.
he did that, but we shouldn't do that because we said we are different. We're a democratic society. If he wants to come, he should come. But that should not mean that whatever charges he has, that he has to face, he has to answer to, he has to answer to those things.
So what should be the least minimum conditions?
What conditions?
For his return?
I mean, he's a citizen.
Okay.
Like, as he's a citizen, he can just walk in tomorrow and come in. But outside that, I mean, you know, he did some crimes that he's been alleged to have committed some crimes, and the law is for everybody. That's why we say rule of law. So, but as a citizen, I mean, for me, this debate of he should come, he should not come, he should not come, it's waste of time. I mean, like, he's a citizen. As a citizen, your country is your country. You belong here, whether you die or not, it's your country. So it's your country. So
do you think his return, I mean, could stabilize or destabilize the country? I know you must have read the communique from ECOWAS after the summit in Abuja. I mean, they issued a communique warning the president to desist from issuing audios with the passive as, you know, being, you know, a threat to the country's peace and stability.
Yeah, it has a potential. It has a potential, and I've seen some analysts that talk about that. You know, but for me, I feel like Gambia has some resilient aspect when it comes to our democratic trajectory and progression. I think we'll deal as a society, because then what we are trying to show as a society is that we are not fair. That people, you know, if you are in a higher position, you can do anything and that you want to do, and then you get scot-free. But if you're an everyday person, then whatever you do, you have to go to jail. So for me, the issue is, yes, it has a potential to do that, but as a society, we have to be resilient. And the resilience is to ensure that there is never again, and people that are responsible for whatever atrocities happen here, they have to face the full force of the law. It's as simple as that. It cannot be anything else, and it doesn't matter whether, you know, there is truth and there is lie. The truth is one truth, and the lie is, if you want, you can pick whatever you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much, Said Matija, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Research and Policy Development. He was my guest on the program. And also Mar Nyang, who actually joined us live from Doha. Mar, I mean, it's good to have you in the program. Where's the award? You are not saying what's the award, by the way.
You don't see that. The award has been looking for you since.
We can't wait to receive you back home, Mar. Thank you so much for joining us live from Doha. I mean, it's always a pleasure having both of you on this program, and I'm quite grateful for agreeing to be on the program. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program.